All right. If I could remember, I know we started learning Linux basics, right? So what are the Linux basic commands we have covered so far? Can anybody remember? I think we have done who am I, right? Which is used to do what? Linux basic command. Okay, so let me quickly help myself. I know we have eaten so much rice over the weekend. I'm not sure that we can remember everything we did. So basically, we started looking at scripting languages, right? And I told us that it is important as a cybersecurity practitioner, you have knowledge of 2 or more scripting languages, which will help you in your practice. Then we mentioned about 3 different scripting language, or let's say two different scripting languages, but we are still focusing on Linux, the operating system, for ethical hacking. Then I told her that it is very essential we understand the basis of Linux as the hacking machine. We need to know how to run basic Linux commands. And then we started from running a command that will tell us the user name of the computer, right? Which is who am I? And that outputted what? Roots. It was actually the session that we began where I highlighted the overview and also talk about what exactly an operating system is. Done all this, I think we are at this slide where we are looking at different Linux basic command for scripting. So I said, this is the one I just ran now. I believe we'll have the note with us. So I want to switch from here because I allowed us to copy the whole of that code. Now, we also have another Linux basic command, which tells us the host name, which is just writing host name and enter. So the host name is Kali. I believe based on how you set up your Linux, we determine the names you'll be getting. So while I was setting up my Linux, my Kali Linux, I use Kali as my host name. Now let's look at another one. There was another command that we ran that helped us to identify our current working directory. So what is directory in this case? In case you don't know what directory is, directory are like files, are like domain, are like locations in your system. So if I may just use our usual operating system like Windows 10, as I open this file explorer now, it's going to open up different directory. So these are directory, like desktop is a directory. Download is another word, directory. Document is directory. So when we say in Linux, we want to know which of the directory we are actually in. We have to run pw t just to know the current working directory. Press enter. So you can see that it has outputted that I am presently in what? Root. Why is showing root? Because I'm using the what? The root what? Terminal. Your O, it might be showing you home if you are running from the client what? Account. Is that taken? Now, there is another basic command in Linux which is used to display the list of this directory. For example, we just find out that we are currently in root what? Directory. But I need to know how many directory are even available. How many directory are available? I'll just type ls and then hit enter. So based on this, you can see what it listed out. So now I want to close this and use Control Alternate T to enter the client what? Account. You can see that it's showing what? Prosper at what? Kali. So this was the account I created so that we can have more directory listed. You can see that the other one did not display desktop document because I was working on what? The root account, the administrative account that I use that was set up before I started creating my account. So if I run that code again, which is what? ls, or let me just start from who am I? If I run this, you see that instead of telling me root, it's giving me what? My actual what? Account name. Then if I also run that one, we read the other time, which is host name, press enter, it's the same Kali. Then I want to know the directory that I am in right now, pwd. I run it, you can see it now, home prosper, compared to the other one. Then if I run ls now, you see how it listed at what? Desktop, document, download, music, pictures, public, template, video. All these are directory, just like when you are using your normal what? Window, like Windows 10 or Windows 11. So that command is what outputted what? The list of directory in that particular what? Current account. Have we executed this? You have to be running them alongside with me as we are going. So if it's not working for you, then we can debug. Now, supposing I want to, the next one is that I still want to run a command in Linux that will still output the list of directory, but in a more expanded version. That is what, in a more detailed version. And that is ls, you space, then -la. So if you run this one, you have a more expanded, this one will tell you, you can see the description, telling you, giving you all the details. The amount of space you have in each of them before you have their list. The account, they are all running. So in case you want to get a more expanded version of the list of directory display, you run LE space ls space -le. So let me just clear this. You can as well clear everything at some point if you are no longer seeing the command. You can say clear and then take everything. So this is how I ran it in case you want to write it down. I type what? ls, and then I space before the hyphen, and then type what? LA. So that is the one that will give you the breakdown of those words directory instead of just mentioning them. Is that taken? All right, so the next one is CD. CD. CD means what? Change what? Directory. We have this note with us, change directory. Now, for example, if I do pwd and it tells me that what? I am currently in home. Sorry, I'm currently what? In Prosper, and the Prosper is in what? Home. Now, and if I do ls only,
then it shows me that I have other directory. I have other directory, I have desktop, I have document. Now, if, for example, I want to change from home, I want to enter desktop, or I want to enter download any of these directory. So I will just do cd space, call the name of that directory. Let's say what? Desktop. Remember, I told us that Linux is case what? Sensitive. You can see that that D is what? Capital letter. So desktop. So if I press enter now, you can see the configuration now. So it has reference. If I do P what? W D now, you can see that what? Your directory have changed. The last one is the one that denotes where you are, even in your Windows, right? For example, now, if I open this, how do I know the directory I am in? Who can tell me how I can know? If I click on this now, how do I know the directory I am in? The one that is showing here last, right? Good. So that is exactly what we are demonstrating, because I told us from beginning that Linux is completely what? Command line what? Based operating system. It's not like our regular operating, like Windows 10, Windows 11, where we have a good user interface that enable us to what? To access the command easily. In Linux, you have to write your command. So what we just did now is just like you clicking on this folder, entering what? Desktop. And that is what you simply achieve in Linux by typing what? cd what? Desktop. Now, if I want to go back to the home, now that you have moved from home, the initial directory to what? Prosper, I want to go back, I will just simply do cd, then space, 2-. So that will return you back to what? Where you were before. If you want to know whether you have actually returned, just type what? PWD. You can see that what? I have returned to what? Home. So I want to pause so that we can all apply that before I continue. Look at some other Linux basic command. Yes. Is to go back to the previous directory. You know, we left that by typing what? cd desktop, right? We left home. Sorry, we left Prosper, which was my current directory, to desktop. Now we want to leave desktop back to what? Prosper. So, and how do I know if I've actually left the current directory? I did what? PWD again. And the output shows that right now I'm no longer in what? In desktop. So if I want to enter music now, what do? I'll do what? cd what? I want to enter music. cd what? cd what? Music, right? Follow the case. cd music. Now you are in music. Now I want you to move from music back to what? Prosper, depending on your name. So I'll do what now? cd what? Space, double what? Hyphen, right? Press enter. So how do you check if you have left that zone? You type what? PW what? D. CK now. Some persons are not there yet. Now, let's quickly look at how to make a directory. Now, how to create directory. Now, you know that all these directory that we have been moving from, they are already what? Created, or default what? Directory. It's just like this. Look up. Thank God that we are able to access the window we are used to. You have desktop here as a place where you can store your file, right? You can decide to say that, no, I don't want to store my file in what? Desktop. I want to create a folder. That is when you will now right click, right? And then create what? Folder as another what? Directory outside the default. So how do you make another directory now? in Linux. That is the next command. And the command is mkdir, then followed by the name of the directory. What's the name of the folder? Let's say what? Hacking. Yes, you space. Let's say the name is what? Is hacking. The name of the directory is hacking. Are we together? Now, once I press enter now, directory created. Directory created. Now, the next thing is for me to display my list of what? Directory and see if this will be included. And how do we display the list of existing directory again? L what? No, don't let us go to the detail now. Let's use what? Only ls. Now, is hacking there now? Look at it. It's added. So this is how you can create what? Directory. If you don't want to use the existing directory. So what we are learning now is what? How to use Linux what? Operating system. Because it's a command-based operating system. So once you have created that, you run ls in order to know if you have actually created. Now, let us say that we are entering it. We want to enter it because if I do look up, if I do pwd, I am not in that folder that I created, right? Because I may want to create file inside it. So I have to first of all what? Be in that folder, hacking. So how do we go there again? Ngozi, please tell us how I can enter hacking. CD, space, double. I disagree. CD hacking. I just want to enter into what? That directory I created. I believe you are also confirming. So if I want to leave there, I want to leave there to the initial directory. I'll do what? CD what? Space what? Double what? Hyphen. So I'm back. So now I want to enter in that hacking. So I will say what? CD hacking. CD hacking. And in CD hacking, I want to create a file inside. It's just like you open your directory like desktop and you now want to create file inside. Because I believe you created it because you want to add a file inside. So you will use a command. So that takes us to what? How to create file inside the directory. How to create file inside the directory. How to create file inside the directory. So what I'm going to simply do is to write touch. That is the name. Touch. Once you are sure that you are in, you write what? Touch. Then the file name. Let's say what? The file name is my name. And then you run it. So I've added file inside what? That folder now. Called what? My name. So if I want to view that file, let me run ls. You can see it now. Once you run ls, it will display what? The name of that file. So this is just like a folder, just like we create another folder what? Inside what? Another folder. You know, when you run ls, when you were in home directory, it listed that desktop document, right? Now you enter your folder, right? You now created another folder. So my name is a folder, it's not a text. So when I did ls inside my hacking, it prompted us only the folder that I've created, which is what? My name. Did you get it? Yes, good. Yeah, that is what I just displayed now. So this is not file. This is just like another. This is not the content you are saving in the file. This is just what, like a subfolder. That is what, you know, when we did what is it called? We did what is that now? We did CD what? CD space what? So now this one I have returned me to what now? To prosper, right? The roots, right? Now, if I do ls here now, if I do ls here, you see the list of file or directory. You can see them as what? Directory or folder, right? Now, but if I now do cd, enter what? Hacking, right? And I say, okay, I want to view what is inside what? The hacking, right? I will do what now? ls, because I am inside it, to now show me what is inside. So if I enter public now and I do ls, I will not see what is inside what? Public. If I enter music now and I do ls, I will not see what is inside what? The music. If I enter download and I do what? ls, I will not see what? File. The file inside that download can still be in a folder or direct what? Text. So let me wait for us to play around. So what is that, is it possible for you to access my name as a soft file inside what? Hacking, without going through hacking? Hold on. Sir, this is your normal way, the way you operate your operating system, right? Can you get a file inside desktop without clicking on desktop? I've answered you, sir. The only way is that when you want to start hacking. You want to start hacking, have you? All right, so let's continue. I believe we are all there now. Let's continue. So let's look at how to remove file. That file that we created, my name, how do I remove it? How to remove file. What is the Linux command for removing what? Created what? File. The Linux command for removing created file. So now what you are going to write, remember that you have to enter the main directory where you created that file. Okay, let's just go straight. You write what? ROM, which represents what? Remove. Then you space and type the file name, which is what? My what? My name. And then you press enter. Okay, so how do I now know if the file has been removed? I will do what? While I'm still inside the hacking, I'll do what? ls, right? Consider what? It outputted what? Nothing. That's what you have removed. It's just like you right-clicking on a folder in your Windows 11 or 10 and selecting what? Delete. That is what we just achieved with that what? ROM followed by the file name.
Can we follow some process to remove the created direction? Can we follow some process to remove the created direction?
I think it's not one thing.
You go find my name for it. I don't.
Let's quickly look at another basic command, which is remove directory. That one is removing what? Sub what? File in your directory. So if we are to remove directory, the syntax is going to be ROMDIR. ROMDIR, which means directory. So which of the directory we are removing? Hacking. In this case, let's say we are removing the hacking, and then I press enter. So it says what? Hacking. It says my own here, failed to remove hacking. So now let's leave, let me say, cd hyphen, and then we run that command again, rm directory hacking removed. Just put slash there. But sometimes, depending on where you are, if you are in, we were in hacking, right? And we are saying that we want to remove what? Hacking. So that's why I have to go back to the roots so that it can see it as part of its property. So now, if I want to check if I have successfully removed it, I will just do what? ls. If I do ls, it shouldn't be mentioned here again, which means that what? You have successfully removed it. Space. Okay, enter. What was the root for? Enter root. CD what? Home, Abi? Yes. Enter CD home. CD home, you understand? So that, let me see. Here's CD home, Abi? CD home has it. Go back to the main.
The next one is we have run a ROMDIR, right? So the next one is how to switch to another user account. How to switch from another user account. How to switch from another user account, which is, for us to achieve that, we'll simply type su Kali. Now, depending on your account, so if you don't have Kali as an account, I have Kali, I have what? Prosper. So in your own case, when you are installing, if you don't have Kali, if you call Kali, it will not go. If you don't have any account, call Kali. So let me press it now. You can see now, user Kali does not exist. So now I will now do what? SU Prosper. I know I have SU Prosper. So you can see it now. It's not asking me for what? The password to enter what? This account. This is just like lookup. I like relate. Thank God that I understand the two windows, both the window 11 or 10 and what? The Kali. Look up here. You know that when we were in the other basic class, the CompTIA A class, the Security Plus session, we talk about user, how to create user, how to switch what? User. You remember this step? Yes. This is what we are doing now with Kali. When I click here now, it will now prompt out what? Different what? User. So I will now select what? I am switching from maybe the admin to what? Student or cyber what? Security. Now, if you are switching from any of this to this, if this one has password, won't it ask you for password? That is what you are experiencing here now. Now you are entering Prosper account, but Prosper account have what? Password. So let me type the password. The password is, don't worry, I will not make it known to you. So I'm in. I just type my password and then I am in that account. So if you have multiple accounts, this is how you can switch from one account to another. This was the first slide where we copied all some of the basic what Linux command, and then you say you stop at what su what Kali, right? So let me go to, this is still the continuation of that basic. So you just let me give us some time to write down all this before I come back to execute them. All right, now, so the next command is how to switch to roots. How to switch to roots. How to switch to root accounts. So all you need to do is to write sudo hyphen sudo space hyphen I. Sudo space hyphen I. So if I press enter, that will take you back to what? To the roots. It's asking for the password. I type my password, and then I am directly in the what? The roots. Don't say, I want to go back to Prosper. What do I do? Sudo what? SU what? SU Prosper, right? Is it not?
Yeah.
SU Prosper. If you want to go to root, that's why you do sudo at what? I. But if you want to go back to the user account, you just do what? SU followed by the name. If your own is Kali. Now, if you want to from here go to the root, that is why you do what? Sudo. Exactly. So let me wait for everybody to confirm that. All right. Now, to exit, just like closing, you type exit. To exit from that account. Now, you know, once you exit from one of the accounts, it will take you to what? The other account. Now, I was in Prosper account and I exited to what? Root account. So if I want to go back again, then I follow SU. Good. SU Prosper, and that take me back. So what is the next command from the one you wrote now? So now, from what I have here, I believe it should align with your own as well. Now, let's do ls again. Do ls to check permission what? Deny. Do your ls. What do you get? Okay, let me just open another one. Control alternate T. ls. Sorry. Okay, now, so now that let's go to that root and see something. If you do sudo ls, sudo ls is asking me for password. Hello, 1, 2. Sudo ls. Now, what you notice here is that sudo is when you want to access what? The roots. If you want to access the roots so that you will not have issue of password or denial, just add what? Sudo what? Ls. You know, the other account that we were directly, I was just using what? Ls, right? But here I have to use what? Sudo what? ls before I could access the same directory. So that is another way. Then the next one is how to see all the previous commands you have run so far. Maybe along the line, you have been writing some code, you're executing, and then you now want to call them back. You want to know the amount of code you have written so far. So to achieve that, you just type history. Once you type history, it will display all the commands. So these are all the commands we have run so far today. In the order at which you ran them, you can see them. All the commands. So when you clear, what you actually do is what? You just to remove them from what? Your viewing what? Interface, not deleting them. Which account are you in before running what? That history. Remember that you were running those codes in one of the accounts. So make sure that you are in that account.
Oh, went back to the account was in
Yes, yes. That is where you should run your history. You know, after you exited, it took you to what? It took us back to root, right? And then I use what? SU what? My name to come back to my account. And then you run that what? Sudo what? Space what? ls, which outputted all the words, the list of directory. Now, in that same interface, I needed to know all the commands I have executed so far, in case I want to memorize them for any purpose. You have a question? So let's add 2. So that is for, now let's look at how to show IP address, what is the basic Linux to check the IP address of your machine. So the command is going to be sudo what? Sudo iconfig. Sudo, yes, there should be space. ifconfig together. Now it's asking me for what? Password, because this is root information. So you can see that what? I have my IP address 192.168.55, 56 rather, .101. So this is just like, you know, we check for, what is it called? For Metasploitable the other time, right? Yes. So this is how you check for your Linux machine. So which other code do you have there? Let's see if we can quickly run through 3 of them. We have another, according to your lists, we have a ls, right? So we can just do what? pw what? dag, just to know the directory we are in this machine, which has returned me back to what? To the home, right? Yes. Then if you want to create another file here, let's say what? Tosh. Your own is what? Your own is root. Depending on where you are writing the code. Now, you know, we are learning how to switch. So I just want to create another file, which is a touch test file 2. So I just create another file because there's something I'm going to do with it later. Well, this is what's supposed to bring the idea of it's an issue. Maybe you run it. So have we created another file? So now let's check if the file is active. ls, so I have 32, ls,
Ouch, yeah, not touch this.